Hello everyone and welcome back. Holy shit. I mean, yeah, I did it. I hit my goal weight and it's been quite a ride. There's been a lot going on. I've been working hard to reach the point that I'm at. It all started 2 years ago, but I kicked it up into higher gear after my birthday, sometime after my birthday, in the beginning of August, and it's just been going like super hard from there. So to celebrate the fact that I hit my goal weight and you know that I'm going to go to the next step, I'm going to make a get to know me video where I answer some questions that I've gotten from people I know and stuff. I've been, I had the idea for this video and ask people, hey, do you have some questions you want to ask me? It could be any questions, and just if you want to get to know me or whatever. And here we are. I'm going to just look here on my phone. some questions that I've gotten, and this video is being recorded over a couple of days because I got like an hour, 2 hours at the end of each day to do things, and I'm getting more questions coming in as the day goes. So my clothes might change, my hair might change, or the noise outside might change. First question I have is, what are your favorite things to do? Well, I really enjoy listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, playing some games. Currently, I'm playing Mad Max. I'm achievement hunting in the game, trying to get every achievement there is. It's a really fun game. I would recommend anyone to play the game. And of course, since I started this whole thing, I really enjoy taking walks outside. So I usually combine that with listening to music or listening to a podcast or an audiobook at the same time. Do you have a favorite rat? No, I love all my rats equally, I think, but I for some reason Steve, the naked one, the guy, I don't know, there's something about him. He's like very social and very happy to see me whenever I come home. You might see him back here somewhere. He jumps up on the cage and like stands like this and looks at me, and he likes climbing up on me as soon as I come home. Yeah, I don't know, for some reason he's just in the front of my mind when I hear this question. What is my next goal? My next goal in general is just to beefing up a bit. Now that I've lost some weight and I've thinned up, and I'm working on this slight flab I have on my belly. Even though my belly has flattened out quite a bit, there's a slight bit of flab left, but that's normal, and that's gonna eventually go away. But I plan to this week, as I'm recording this, to just keep going with the routine I have now, though I will eat slightly more than I have been, just to treat myself, I guess. And after that, I'm gonna up my protein intake, eat some more protein heavy foods, drink some protein shakes and stuff, and I'm gonna switch my 100% cardio gym routine to just a very slight cardio warm-up, and then 1.5 hours of just doing muscle stuff. What's my favorite thing to cook? I think my favorite thing to cook is like a homemade pizza, like the one I made a video about. They're really good, really easy to just throw together, and low in calorie, and it tastes really good. But I think I also like making... no, I can't really think of anything else. What's my favorite color? I really like purple. For some reason, I don't know exactly why. I think it's because of Mace Windu. When I was younger and watched the Star Wars movies, and I saw that he had a purple lightsaber. I just enjoy the color purple or red. What spurred you to make this change? When I ultimately started 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was really in a bad place in my life, and I really didn't enjoy where I was health-wise and how I looked. And it just started I just wanted to change, and my life was beginning to get better, so I wanted to just change. And I began going to the gym, and I, started watching what I was eating a little bit more. That's basically it. As far as like this last like month and a half, 2 months is concerned, I just stepped things up. I don't know exactly why. It just sort of clicked, and I just stepped things into high gear. Why did you choose the goals you chose? Well, I remember that long ago, I tried, when I was at the height of my gymming before the corona hit. I remember I tried out like a 1 week water fast, and I went down to 77 kilos. And that number has been stuck in my mind since then. And I just knew that I could reach that again, but water fasting just, that wouldn't be sustainable, because I would go, for a time just drinking water, but then I'd eventually have to eat again, and the calories would make me go, shoot back up. So I just figured that I would, just gradually go down in calories and up my calorie burn and my exercise. What's your favorite exercise from your routine so far? Definitely just being outside and walking, even though it takes time, it takes 1.5 hours and to take 10,000 steps with the route I'm taking. I can do that twice in a day, or at least on weekends. At the internship/work I'm at right now, I walk quite a bit at the job, so I get my total 20,000 goal from that. So just walking in general is pretty okay, because I can combine it with listening to music or a podcast or ASMR or whatever. What kept me motivated throughout? This might be, sound mean or something, but I've been watching shows like My 600 Pound Life, Big Fat Beautiful Life, and YouTubers like Amberlynn Reid and Chantel, or, Foodie Beauty, and that sort of content, because those people are it's like they keep getting these wake-up calls that they don't answer. It's like they get bigger and bigger, and they get injuries, and they get they lose control, and they get addicted to food, or just get addicted to bad fast foods, and just again and again, and it keeps going and keeps going until it's either too late, and they get cancers, and they get injured, and it's just for me it's more like an inspiration of what not to be. That sort of kept me motivated. Personally, I didn't like what I looked like before. I didn't like being fat. I didn't find myself sexy. I didn't find myself handsome. And the thinner I got, the more sexy and handsome I think I am. So that's basically it. How are the rats doing? I can show you how the rats are doing. Look at him. Look at this big guy. Look at this big potato. Look at him. He's doing alright. He's doing fine. What got you into rats? Well, I remember, first when I was a kid, a really small kid, I remember my big brother had a rat. A couple of years ago, I met someone. We're not friends anymore, but we used to be like online friends and chatting and stuff. And she had rats. And it sort of fascinated me. I was a one-track mind with that, sort of. I got kind of obsessed with rats for a while, and then I just got one. Began getting Polly, my first one, the girl, and it sort of just went on from there. Rats are great animals. They're smart and they're sociable. Are very noisy as well. Don't fight. Don't fight. How big do you plan on getting? I don't really have a goal as far as getting, it's I want to get this swole or whatever. Because I'll just keep on going. For now I got a gym membership until next October 2021, and I'll just keep doing daily stuff, and I'll just keep on going and just make sure I get the exercise and I keep building muscle. I'll probably eventually stop, but I don't really have a concrete point or goal for that right now. How did you achieve your goal? Well, I made sort of a plan that, I gotta start counting calories and just first make sure that I know what I take in, find a way to know how much I burn. So I started using cardio machines, bikes and ellipticals, treadmills and Stairmaster machines. But they show you basically how much, in a rough manner, how much you burned. And that way I could start gauging how much I was burning and how much I was taking in by using my kitchen scale and weighing everything that I was cooking, because I did meal preps, for work and for my food at home, and I started meal prepping, and that's basically how I did that. And you gotta stay consistent with it. It's not gonna come quickly. It's gonna take 1, 2, 3 months to see the result, and that's how long I kept on going. What steps did you take to prepare for it? Well, basically, I took a week or two where I, got into the mindset of weighing everything, and figuring out like, okay, how am I going to, measure everything? How am I going to, gauge how much I burn? I figure, I got a step counter app that keeps, the amount of steps I take and how much calories I burn by taking those steps and combining that with the gym and, with weighing everything. And I kept a food diary here, and I started using this, or at least I started writing down in it, 17th of August, and I've just kept on, filling this every damn day with everything I've eaten and everything, my calorie burn at the gym and everything. So you gotta keep a diary of this shit, because it helps a lot. It helps a lot. What are my hobbies? Well, I like playing games, I like listening to audiobooks, I like, hanging out with my rats, I like taking walks. And that's about it. Job. Do I have a job? I don't really have a job right now. I'm in sort of like an education to become a chef/cook, and currently I'm in the last 2 weeks of a 2-month internship that will most likely lead to some sort of job. But given it's the autumn and the season, like the summer season is over, I might only be able to work on weekends, but that's better than nothing at least. So I'm plus I've done well, so I have contacts, so it will probably lead to a job eventually. So I'm not really too bothered about that. So hello, I'm back. So I got some more questions here. It's been, I think, 1 or 2 days since I last recorded. What was your inspiration to remain consistent? So I've already answered this. I mentioned watching some shows and some YouTubers, and I think seeing myself thinning down, but also something that inspired me was seeing how all my pants basically began to slip, and I've had to use the string to tie a couple of the the belt hoops together. And actually the ones I'm wearing right now, I've taken the button and I've kind of moved it through the first hoop and then connected it into the actual buttonhole, because if I don't, the pants just slip right off of me. And that's actually a pretty nice inspiration to be able to see my old clothes from when I was bigger are falling off of me. So that's a pretty good inspiration actually. What was the deciding moment that made you want to start to lose weight, and was there one? Sort of. There's been multiple situations or moments in my life where I can sort of okay, this is what at one different point where it started. There were still multiple moments where I sort of even harder got into the mindset that I need to change. And one that was very prominent was New Year's, I think 3 years ago. I was sitting alone in my room, and I had ordered a pizza, and I had actually dropped some LSD at the time as well, and I ate like a quarter of the pizza, and then I just like stared at it, and it was like a family-sized pizza too. Back at that time, I could actually eat a whole family-sized, at least a Swedish family-sized one. I don't know about the American ones, but a family-sized pizza, and I could eat all of it at that time, but I didn't. I ate it, and then just something inside of my head was like, I can't fucking do this. I just sat there for like 30 minutes staring at this pizza while I was like, tripping real hard. I grabbed the whole thing and I went outside to like the trash container we had outside, and I fucking Breaking Bad that shit, like yeet, threw it in there. And after that, I started to take steps to start going to the gym and stuff, but it didn't start at the gym at first. I got like a small like pedal thing where you can sit and basically like a bike and pedal, and I put it under my desk. So when I was gaming, that I would just keep on moving, and then I actually found an abandoned bike at the I think like the city dump, and it was actually still functioning. It was just the chain was kind of busted, so I had to fix the chain. But after that, I got myself a lock, and I went for like 1 hour bike rides with it every day after work at the time. Something else that over time inspired me to start with this was every morning. It could be before work or on weekends. Every morning I went up and I took a shower, and every damn morning I had like throw ups of just stomach acid, every morning I stood in the shower and just yellow fucking, it wasn't like mucus or anything. This is TMI, I know, but it was like liquidy and salty yellow shit, and like my god, it burned my whole mouth and my whole throat and everything on the way up, and it was horrible. And eventually I was like, fuck, I can't deal with this anymore. This is fucking horrible. I gotta do something about what's happening to my body. What's your favorite thing to cook? I've answered this before, but definitely one thing I like to bake is homemade Cinnabon. Like I take milk and I use like the proper ingredients, like milk, butter, not dry yeast, but like fresh yeast, like the soft stuff, and real sugar and stuff like that, and I mix it all together and bake, and it's great. It's amazing. Like my Cinnabons can get like this big. I let them rise for a nice good time and get the dough like nice and soft. One of my other favorite things to bake or cook is sponge cake, but instead of like just making the not the dough but the mix as it is with like the sugar and stuff, I also always put like some rosemary in there, and I squeeze some fresh orange juice in there, and I grab the zest as well and put in there. And then when it's baked, I like to melt some dark chocolate and sort of like paint it on the top half of the thing, and it becomes like half of it is covered in like a nice thin dark chocolate crust. That's delicioso. Do you feel much more confident than you did a few years ago? Hell yeah! I feel sexy, I feel handsome. When I walk outside, I'm like, fuck yeah, I look amazing, I got the fucking drip, respect the drip, that's how I feel. And, I don't know, some of these things, that I feel inside might be shallow, but like, being outside and seeing my own result compared to like the average Joe, like, people are, pretty big and fat nowadays. And I feel really good about myself, seeing other people and being outside and, feeling myself. So I feel sexy, I feel handsome, I feel confident. I'm definitely not scared about, dealing with people and thinking like, oh, are they gonna think that I'm some like ugly, fat, disgusting creep or whatever, you know? Do you get many weird reactions when people see or know that you have rats? The whole rat thing, it's actually been pretty... I don't get many weird reactions. Some people are like, oh, you have rats? But mostly, at least, you know, the latest situations I can remember has been people at, you know, customers at the internship when you talk with them and the topic somehow comes up. And they seem like interested and like positively surprised. I'm like, oh, you got rats, and how's that like, you know? And I get to explain a bit like rats, you know, are like small dogs, and people just don't really know much about them because it's like you never really see a rat unless it's a wild one. And if you see one of those, it's like in your trash, you know. And they're pretty scary, and you should be scared of wild rats because they're completely different compared to tame rats. They're smart, but they're also dangerous. They seem a little bit weirded out in the beginning, but after you get to explain it a little bit and they get to ask questions, it disappears. Usually it just becomes a positive thing, you know, positive reaction. How long did you water fast? For these last 2 months I haven't really water fasted at all because I don't feel that it would be doable. Like, you know, you can lose a lot of weight, but you're gonna start eating again and you'll gain everything right back. But one time when I did try it, I did it for like a week, and this was long ago. I think in the beginning of the year, around like maybe March or April, and I did it for a week, and I still had, you know, work and gym, and I went down from, I think I was around like 85 to 77 is how much I dropped, and that's pretty much in like a week. I mean, what I've done now these last 2 months has been gradually going down and down and down in calorie intake, and up and up and up in calorie burn, and that way I've gotten my body to, you know, sort of start to turn everything around and start using the body fat instead of just completely starving it and making it go into this mode. So yeah, that's about it. And that's all the questions that I got from friends. I sent out some messages to people like, you know, I'm gonna make a video where it's like, oh, you want to get to know me a little bit, and you can send me some questions, just, you know, anything, could be anything related about me or my rats or my workout routine. And I'll just have skipped any questions that I felt have been like too personal, you know. So, you know, if you ask the question and, you know, you're watching this and it's not in here, then I've either felt it's been a little bit too personal to answer, or I've gotten like multiple, you know, the same question multiple times, and I've already answered it in this video, but it's, you know, it's asked quite slightly different than how you asked it. So yeah, hopefully you've learned something about me and how I've done things, and, you know, my relationship with my rats. They're all sleeping up here right now. No, damn, this. There we are. Trying to do this in the camera when it's like turned around and stuff. It's not easy to angle the thing. But yeah, there they are. There's the girls. There's a fly in here. There's a fly in here. Gross. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you've had fun. I will see you in the next video.